Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavad-gita as it is. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. Natyashnatastu yogosti.
Natyashnatastu yogosti.
Nachaikantamanashnataha.
Nachaikantamanashnataha.
Nachati svapnashilasya.
Nachati svapnashilasya.
Jagrato naiva charjuna.
Jagrato naiva charjuna.
So these are common sense principles. That you can't be a balanced person, what to speak of being a yogi, if you eat too much or eat too little, sleep too much or don't sleep enough. What is eating too much or eating too little, or sleeping too much or sleeping too little, for one person may be different to that of another. For instance, Bhimasena, one of the 5 Pandavas, he is famous for eating a lot, but he's also famous for performing heroic activities. His requirement is to eat so much. So the general rule is eat what you can digest, or a little less. If you eat too much, the excess food which is not digested turns to poison within the system and causes disease. In youth, when the senses are very strong, there is a tendency to misuse the body. The body in youth can usually take a lot of misuse. That even though the body is not treated properly, it quickly recovers. And we feel full of youthful vigor. But after some time, the misuse of the body puts a strain on the body. And due to increasing age, the body cannot recover as quickly as it did before. Due to excessive overeating, poisons accumulate in the body and eventually cause chronic diseases. So what to speak of yogis, even ordinary people in the Vedic culture understood all these principles. Even we see in any culture in the world, people, they knew how to live a life in harmony with nature. Just like we see the Red Indians in North America, actually many of them were vegetarians, but those who ate meat, they used to just kill the animal exactly according to their requirement. But when there used to be thousands of bison, which is one kind of, like a cow, huge animal, which used to roam all over North America, like a buffalo. There used to be hundreds and thousands of them. But when the Western man came to North America for sport, he used to kill them. So now there are no bison left. So in a more advanced culture, people, they know how to live in harmony with nature for the purpose of spiritual elevation. How to treat the body so that it works properly. These are just basic common sense principles. If you eat too much, you feel sleepy, you feel sick. If you eat too little, after some time your body feels weak. The mind may also be agitated due to desire for food. Actually, when one becomes more spiritually advanced, then he can decrease his intake of food. He can decrease his sleeping. Vidrahara vihara kadi vijito. About the 6 Goswamis it is said that they conquered overeating and sleeping. They used to eat just a few chickpeas or little buttermilk every 1 or 2 days.
Chickpeas also
You can make it into flour. It's like a few beans, you can say. Just 5 or 6 beans. Chickpeas, you don't know that round. Or a little buttermilk in their hand, once every 1 or 2. And they used to sleep about 1.5 hours in 24. And sometimes they forgot to do that too. Because they were so much spiritually advanced. This is not to be imitated. Sometimes I've seen devotees, they practically stop eating and sleeping, trying to perform severe austerities. So they do this for a few days. Then they attack the Mahaprasad supply and eat enough for about 3 elephants. And then go to sleep for about 6 weeks. So it's better just to be steady. Take what you need every day. Sometimes devotees lament that, oh, I can't control my tongue. Every time I see a plate of halava, I completely lose my sense of control. I remember once, there was one devotee who used to serve at the Sunday feast program in London. And after serving everybody, there was about 10 or 11 preparations, but he only took halava. A big plate like this. So I was surprised to see how much halava he's eating. But actually he only took that amount because his plate was only this big. If it was bigger he would have taken more. Because when he finished that plate, he took another plate. Aham vaishvanaro bhutva praninam dehamashita prana pranasamayata pachamyanam chaturvidham. Krishna says in the Gita, I am the fire of digestion in the stomach. Digesting the different kinds of food. So he was feeding Krishna in the form of fire in the stomach. Anyway, sometimes devotees lament. I remember also once after the Sunday feast in London, actually that temple was famous for the prasad. So many devotees, they came from America to India, and most of them stopped in London to have darshan of Sri Sri Radha Landanishwara, whose picture is here, and to take their prasad. It's famous for being exceptionally wonderful. So once after the Sunday feast, I staggered up to the brahmachari ashram on the 6th floor to find, as usual after the Sunday feast, all the brahmacharis moaning and groaning, stretched out on the floor. With various sounds such as snoring and sounds like, oh. So I staggered down the 6th. I couldn't get a place to lie down myself, so I came down again to the basement where the prasadam room was. And I asked the town president that, why did Prabhupada have this Sunday feast when everyone just gets completely intoxicated on prasadam? So he applied immediately, very strongly, because we'd all bloop if we didn't have it. You know the word bloop? That hasn't entered Russian ISKCON language yet?
Bloop.
No. You know what it means?
Yeah. Go down.
Yeah. It doesn't have the same meaning as bloop. Bloop has a different word. There's so many stories. You could write dozens of books. One of our devotees, he joined the temple, but every so often he would vanish for a few days. Then he would come back again, and he would perform service happily for a few months, a few weeks, and then he'd go home. Then he'd vanish again. So this went on for some time. Then after some time he became steady and just stayed in the temple. So after a few years his parents came to visit the temple and said, well, we're very happy to see that our son is steadily situated here. But one thing we could never understand, when he first joined, every few weeks he used to come home, and he used to get this huge cooking pot, and he cooked this preparation. We never saw it before. It was made of farina. You know what that is, farina? And butter, and sugar, and water, and raisins. He used to cook this huge pot, and then he used to stand in front of it with a bell, saying some funny prayers. Then he'd sit down and eat for the next 1.5 hours, and then he'd go to sleep for about 1 or 2 days, and then he'd go back to the temple. So that's actually one of the gurus in our movement, you know. As Prabhupada once said, we're all devotees of Prasadam. There's another devotee was telling me that he knew so many devotees who they joined the temple, and new devotees, they're quite neophyte and they were struggling. They found it difficult to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning in the winter and take a cold shower, and to go out on the streets all day in the cold weather. So many of them, they used to think, well, I think I'll leave, I can't stay anymore. But let me see, it's only 3 days to the Sunday feast, so after the Sunday feast I'll leave. So after the Sunday feast they thought, well, Krishna consciousness is quite good after all. So anyway, let me stay. And anyway, they couldn't go anywhere because they couldn't move anyway. And then maybe again by Wednesday or Thursday they're thinking. So anyway, like this, they gradually, slowly became fixed up. Prabhupada also, in the first temple of ISKCON in New York, he used to have a big jar of gulab jamans in the corner, called ISKCON bullets. Because Prabhupada was trying to do his translation work, and then all the new bhaktas would come in and say, Prabhupada, I can't find my socks, and things like this. So Prabhupada told, you ever have too many problems, don't bother me, just go and shoot yourself with an ISKCON bullet. So here in this purport, Krishna says not to eat too much, but Prabhupada stresses on the point that we shouldn't eat food which is not offered to Krishna. So that is the main principle, don't eat anything which is not offered. And in the beginning we may feed our devotees even more than the physical requirement. That is one way of making people feel good, to get their bodies filled up with prasadam. You could say it's a slight type of sense gratification, because devotees are leading an austere life. So just a little license to enjoy something, take prasad. So often devotees, newer devotees, they're thinking, how will I ever control the time? I always eat too much. But practically speaking, that comes automatically in course. You don't even have to worry about it too much. You just think how to serve Krishna. And if we get absorbed in that, then our eating and sleeping will become automatically regulated. Because we won't want to eat too much or sleep too much, because we'll know that it will adversely affect my body, then I won't be able to serve properly. So sometimes people ask, well, how much exactly should we eat, or how much exactly should we sleep? But it's different for every person. For one person, one large piece of bread a day may be enough. For another, he may need 5 or 6 pieces. Someone may require even more, depending on the work he's doing, the season, if it's very cold. And how much sleep do you need? Here Prabhupada says that anyone who takes more than 6 hours is influenced by the mode of ignorance. And generally Prabhupada wanted to push his disciples to sleep less than 6 hours. Here in this well-known quote he says not to sleep more than 6 hours a day. In one purport in the Bhagavad-gita he says not more than 7 hours a day. In one conversation he said absolutely maximum 8 hours a day for a devotee. But the point is that we want to minimize. Sleeping is like a death condition. We sleep just enough to refresh the body so that we can serve Krishna. This idea of taking pleasure in sleeping is completely in the mode of ignorance. It's like the karmis, if they get a holiday, they think, oh, now I can sleep late. I can sleep till 11 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Actually, previously, even ordinary people, they used to rise early in the morning. Now with this TV culture, people stay up late watching TVs and videos. And they think it a great privilege if they have a holiday, then they can sleep late, spoiling their life. Anyway, when they get up, they're also spoiling their life because they don't know how to properly utilize their time.
Get up.
Even when they get up from their sleep, they also waste their life because they don't know how to utilize their... So devotees lead a sensible life. The English saying is, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy and wise. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy and wise. According to Ayurveda also, even 1 hour of sleep before the middle of the night is worth 2 hours afterwards. Yeah, in other words, you may think, I'll take rest at 12 o'clock and then sleep. If I take rest and get up late, but Ayurveda recommends you take rest early. Better to take rest early and get up early. Because rest earlier in the night is more beneficial. Plus, of course, rising early is very important for spiritual advance. Because the early time of the day is essential to utilize that part of the day for spiritual activities. Someone who sleeps regularly up to 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, they cannot advance properly in Krishna consciousness. So these are all basic common sense principles for helping our advancement in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Is there any question?
He feels himself very difficult when he sleeps 6 hours. When he sleeps 6 hours a day, he's feeling himself very burdened. He can work properly and he has headache and maybe there is some practice to reduce some...
Yeah, that's what I said. What may be too much sleep or too little sleep for one person is different for someone else. By practice you can gradually decrease. It's not that at the time of death that the angel is standing there saying, no, you can't go to the kingdom of God because on November the 17th, 1992, you slept 6 hours and 1 minute. That's it. Finished. No hope for you. Go to hell. Eternal damnation. Burn in hell forever. We're timing you. 1 minute over. Send him to hell forever. Not like that.
It's bad to sleep in the middle of it.
Yes and no. It's for strictly practicing yogis and brahmacharis, they should not. But Prabhupada himself did it. Of course, he hardly slept at night. And another point is, if you need it, then you may have to take it. I know myself, living in India, like everyone else, in the hot season, it's so hot in the middle of the day. Everyone takes rest for half an hour, 1 hour. One important point is to be regulated. As much as possible to eat and sleep and do all these things at the same time every day. That's very helpful for making the mind steady. The problem is that if we say, yes, it's all right to take a little rest in the day, which it is, there's no, just if you need to make your head clear, to go on with your service for the rest of the day, there's no harm to take a little rest. But the problem is that if we say this, then someone taking this as an excuse will be absent from everyone's vision for like 3-4 hours at a stretch during the day. So a little nap is okay. You know what a nap is? A nap means a short. But excessive sleeping in the day is not a question. Somebody had a question?
If Krishna is supreme enjoyer, then why we are enjoying? Because he should be enjoyed.
Why are we enjoying? Well, we're enjoying in this material world because we wanted to enjoy separately from Krishna. So Krishna has kindly given us the facility to enjoy in this material world. But the point is that this enjoyment is not actually enjoyment. It's only a very frustrating attempt at enjoyment. Where is the enjoyment when you have to repeatedly die, get born again, and suffer old age and disease? It's just like it's a tradition all over the world that people who are sentenced to death, they're usually executed just early in the morning. So it's a tradition all over the world that the night before they're asked, what would you like to eat? And then they can choose any nice food they like. Yeah, the day before they're to be executed. Put to death. Shot, hung, poison, electric chair. So can the man who's going to be shot the next morning, can he get enthusiastic? Oh, that's great. Bring me some sausages and some baked beans and some toast and some butter. Oh, I really have a good feast. So this is our position. We're trying to enjoy, but we're frustrated because we know that's spiritual enjoyment. We enjoy when we serve Krishna, then we actually enjoy. But that enjoyment is the enjoyment of serving Krishna. That is a natural byproduct of serving Krishna. We enjoy as secondary enjoyers. That's Krishna's mercy on us. Devotee becomes happy by serving Krishna and seeing him happy. Krishna also becomes happy seeing his devotees happy. So it's a very happy situation. Because Krishna is trying to make his devotees happy, and devotees are trying to make Krishna happy. Devotees, they like to see Krishna nicely decorated. They offer him all nice foods and galas. And Krishna enjoys these things. And the devotees enjoy seeing Krishna enjoy. So it's quite different from the attitude of materialistic sense enjoyers, who think, let me enjoy. Just like this whole idea of fashion, it's just imitating Krishna. Krishna is the supreme dresser. So when we dress with fashions to try to attract, especially it's meant for attracting the opposite sex, and that's just trying to imitate Krishna. We don't become happy. So any other questions? Alright, we'll finish then. Early to bed, early to rise. Makes a devotee ecstatic in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.